Welcome to the Dork Forest. Jackie and her pals will never bore us. Shameless confessions
about our obsession
will make us laugh and smile. So let's explore the Dork Forest and dork down for a while.
Hello and welcome, please. In the middle of a Dove Dark Peppermint Bark Candy. My name is Jackie Kashian. Welcome to the Dork Forest, live at the Nerdmelt Theater in Meltdown Comic Books in Hollywood, California. Yay! That was, of course, Mike Rickberg and Sarah Cohen singing the theme to the Dork Forest. Mike will sing again at the end. And today, slightly attended, but I think it's going to be a powerful group. We're gonna have some powerful topics. We're doing Dork Panel here at the Dork Forest today. To my left, we have Auggie Smith. Welcome to the program.
Thank you, Jackie. Very happy to be here. Thank you for all of that. That's sweet of you.
Auggie Smith, the only one who I truly asked what his dorkdom was, so we're going to lead off with him. Sitting next to him, though, Sue Costello, previous a friend of the Dork Forest. Yeah. Sue Costello.
Hi.
Welcome
Fixture
back.
of the forest.
Dork. And then we have local dork luminary, TJ Miller.
Luminary.
I'm a dork luminary.
Not fair. How did you get that?
I don't know.
I wear Christmas lights under my clothing. I'm a luminary.
A luminary. So all I did was I said, what dorkdom would we talk? And Auggie, you were the only one who came up with something immediately, which is propaganda.
Well, that's because people should know that I've known Jackie for some time, and she's had this podcast for some time. And
2006.
She has been dangling me being on the podcast for some time.
Aww.
We're talking years here. Years. She's like, well, I don't think we're just quite ready for you yet.
You were on.
Right?
You were on one of the original. You were on the original with Joe Wilson call-in Halloween episode that did not get recorded on Blog Talk Radio. So probably 2007. Remember that one? You told the story of the furry at the Dante's in Portland.
The furry at the Dante's?
That is the weirdest way to get somebody's memory back on track. The furries at Dante's?
There was a guy dressed as a rabbit.
It was a girl dressed as a rabbit.
It was a girl. Oh, I'm sorry.
And then there was a guy that fought the rabbit, and the whole thing ended with me seeing my buddy, and he's all messed up because there had been a big fight because he had been tussling with the rabbit, and the whole thing ended with, I was just messing around, and then the bunny got serious.
That was the actual line. That was the best line ever.
Which is how I've lived my life ever since.
And why didn't it get recorded?
Oh, because Blog Talk Radio dropped the ball in conference call goodness.
It was because Dante was attacked by the furry.
Dante's is a bar in Portland, Oregon that has open fire next to a lot of drunk people. It's a terrible life choice.
Oh, there's just like a fire pit. I thought you said Dante's is a bar in Portland where they just open fire on you. When you walk in, they just start blasting caps.
Not in Portland.
You guys familiar with that?
That would be the second time we talked about getting shot doing comedy, right? Remember when we did it on your podcast?
No, which one was that? What story was that?
When you had me on there and you told me how the guy used to pay you, but he would put the gun on the thing.
Oh, that was that guy in Milwaukee. Did you guys ever...
JD.
JD.
Not to be confused with JB.
Isn't that a weird part of being a comedian? That everyone's like, oh yeah, I remember that place. Yeah.
Remember that
happened at a regular job?
Yeah, if you had to go pick up your check and you were an insurance adjuster and the guy had a pistol sitting on the thing going, do you want your check? You got to sit with the pistol pointing at you.
Your boss his name's Jeff, and he puts a Derringer on his cubicle desk. He's like, it's payroll Friday. What do you say about that? Don't worry, this isn't loaded. It's an antique. I went antiquing last Friday.
JD would have a gun on the table when he paid you, but here's the thing, he wouldn't bring me back. You know why? I was too dirty. I was too dirty for the guy with the gun.
Yeah.
I didn't think I was.
He wouldn't bring he didn't bring you back to the show.
You know, my dad owned. He played cards in a game where you had to have a pistol to play cards in this game. It was with a bunch of mobster wannabes in Milwaukee. I know,
all right,
mobsters, Milwaukee.
We should stop right there. Mobster wannabes in Milwaukee.
But the thing is this: so my dad bought a pair of matching Derringers. He bought a pair of dueling pistols, but tiny ones, and so he would bring them as a joke and just put them on the table because if they ever got fired, they would completely lose all of their value. So they wouldn't be loaded. He would just bring this box which had
Did
two
the other
tiny
people load
pistols.
their guns?
Yeah. The other people were. He was like, if anything goes down, they'll shoot him. I'm just here with my box of pistols, and
I don't even know what a Derringer is.
It's a tiny gun.
It is, yeah?
It's a teeny tiny gun. It looks like a gun that's gone through the dryer.
Teeny tiny.
I can't believe that.
It's a children's gun.
That sounds to me like he was just trying to say, like, oh, I don't bring loaded guns, but he just had 2 sawed-off shotguns that he wore as earrings.
Not Elliot Cation. Elliot Cation, I come from a long line of cowards. He doesn't have any interest in owning any sort of loaded weapon at any time.
I like
he had a hard
his
enough time with a steak knife.
Elliot. I like
Elliot.
his name.
He picked it himself.
How did he pick? Wait a minute.
Picked his own name?
He picked his own.
Jackie, how did your father pick his own name?
Well, his name was Armenian, and it was what's going on?
The chair's broken.
All right.
Everybody stay calm!
He's leaving. He's mad.
Fix this!
No one sit in the front row!
Everybody be cool now!
His name was Yelia, which is Armenian for Elliot. As far as he was concerned, he's like, I'm going to pick something that sort of sounds like Yelia.
How old was he when he decided? Did he just come out in the
16.
doctor? Oh, really?
But the thing is his
What was his name for 16 years?
Yelia. Everyone called him Yelia. It was
see.
essentially in South Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But the weird thing is what's the book? What's the book that you get?
Bible.
The yearbook.
Great
The
Gatsby.
Torah. The Quran. Yalia.
Yearbook.
Paradise Lost.
I believe I'm thinking of the word yearbook. In his yearbook, everybody wrote Yelia instead of Elliot.
And then he joined the gangsters, and he had to turn it to Elliot.
Well, I think he joined the Navy, and the Navy was like, "Don't be ridiculous.
You can't be Armenian. They don't let Armenians into the Navy.
Standard Navy. Just you walk in, you tell them your name, and they say, "Don't be ridiculous."
Your name is now Jim."
The Navy is the modern Ellis Island. That's true. I've always said that.
Have you always said that, TJ?
Yeah, I started saying it yesterday.
It's the modern day Ellis Island. I was thinking of Ellis Island when I did. All right, so that's how Auggie and I met. We met on the road doing stand-up comedy many years ago. Mm-hmm. That's how we met. And then Sue Costello and I met at Aspen '96. That's right. Some of you were born in '96.
No, they weren't.
Not in this room.
Look at them.
Not this
Not in this room.
He's like,
Not in my fan base.
I was born in 1925.
They got completely quiet. They were
name's
like,
All right.
We met in Aspen, yes,
In
at
Aspen.
the comedy festival.
At a comedy festival. It was very glamorous. It was
we
the
went to
HBO Comedy
Montreal.
Arts Festival. And then again in 2003 in Montreal.
Because we're famous.
Because we're famous people, and we told the story many times, has the story been told, but we went out to dinner with Marie Bamford, Aisha Tyler, and Judy Gold.
Tall. We were out with the tall girls.
It was a lot of ladies having some salad, except for me. I wanted a lobster, and Aisha Tyler wanted the lobster, and Judy Gold wanted the $200 bottle of wine, and Marie Bamford had 3 pieces of lettuce and a Diet Coke, and Sue Costello got a sensible dinner.
I did.
And
Costello shot a pig. Put it on a
I had the fuzzy Dakota, whatever it was.
What is Fuzzy Dakota? That's hilarious that you were. I never did one. What did you order?
No, what was the story?
Dante's pig.
Oh, the fuzzy.
furry Dante.
The fuzzy bunny.
The Fuzzy Bunny.
I don't remember what I ordered. My boyfriend moved out on me that weekend, so I was under stress, remember?
Oh, yeah. That's
well,
right.
I
He
was
sent
away.
you to Montreal so he could move out on
Yeah.
you.
Is that true?
Yes. I lived with
He
him.
got her
Son of
the
a bitch.
booking.
Where is he? I didn't
He
tell
got her the booking.
He got me in, but he didn't even get me on the good shows. I was only on like the side shows too.
Son of a bitch.
It's one of the
She's
shittiest
laughing.
stories.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was moving out the place while you were in Aspen?
Well, I was in Montreal. I lived with him for 8 years, and he's like, I got you into Montreal. And I'm like, you did? He loves me so much. Oh, my God. And here I am, Judy Gold, spending all my money.
Because Judy Gold goes, in very New York, she goes, let's just split the check 5 ways. Maria Bamford has already left the building because she had a set.
She had sets on the good shows.
Right, and she was like, hey, Jackie, can you cover my part of the bill? And I was like, of course. So the bill comes, and Costello and I are sitting there, and neither one of us drank. Aisha Aisha and Judy, but I knew I was spending $100. I wanted a lobster. So it was $500. So I had to pay $180. $90 for me, $90 for Bamford. And then those two guys go off to live Aisha and Judy Gold go off to live their lives.
Right.
Their glamorous lives.
The lives, those Aisha Tyler lives.
The life that Judy Gold was born to live.
And I went home and had no money for rent.
Well, what happened was, so we can...
She's going to cry.
It's
all right. I'm over it now.
But Sue and I get into the van to go back to the hotel, and Sue's like, "Why didn't you say anything?" And I'm like, "Why didn't you say anything?" And she's like, "You're more obnoxious than I am. Remember when you said that?"
Wow.
Wait a minute.
Right? And all I could think was, there's not a jury in the world that will convict me.
There's not a jury in the world that would ever say you were more obnoxious than me either. It just isn't.
It would be hard to find a jury that would try that case. Your Honor, we break to stand Sue Costello. She has a New Year's noisemaker with her.
I feel
Tell
sorry
us.
for the alternate jurors on that case. And sit there, hoping they get called.
I don't think I said obnoxious. I was under duress. I can't be held responsible for anything. I can't be held
It's
responsible
true.
for anything.
You cannot be held. And TJ Miller and I, we've never met. This is it.
It's our first time meeting.
It's lovely.
Mating.
It's our first time ever meeting. And,
I thought you said mating.
let me just say, it's our first time in the Navy. Don't be ridiculous. It's our first time meeting, and we always said, I remember we would always look at each other from across the room at various, shows, sex fetish parties.
Right.
And we'd kind of make eye contact, and we'd sort of give each other that eye, like, we'll meet when there's enough Dove dark chocolate.
Right. If there's enough dark chocolate in the room.
You know that look when someone gives you, like, kind of like,
That's the Dove dark chocolate look?
yeah, it's sort of a rolling of the eyes and squinching of just the cheeks.
Actually, well, the weird thing is that you booked that show at the sex shop, at the vibrator shop, and here in Los Angeles. You did? The Pleasure Chest.
I wasn't invited to that.
I would love you to come, Augie. You're welcome also.
You guys want to do
Not as much
shows
as Sue.
surrounded by a lot of plastic
What do we have
items?
to do?
No, it's good.
It's
It's
just a
just
show
comedy.
in a sex shop. You just go and you perform in the middle.
And
of
everybody's on board.
Do I have to gyrate?
Nope.
You
There's
don't
no
have to.
No, we have someone do that for you. That's true.
That somebody will actually move my hips for me?
Right behind you, sort of like a forced mamba.
That's a different episode. The salsa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We know each other from the scene, but yeah, you came and did the show, did a lovely performance.
It was just
at
not
the Pleasure Chest show.
at the Pleasure Chest. Always, I like it because it's in the front area where it's all where the bridesmaids people come.
Yeah,
it's in that area. It's not in
more
the
sort of-
serious.
right. It's in the party, kind of like, should we go in and get like a dick necklace, like a candy dick?
Oh, the penis pop.
It's that area.
That's it.
It would be weird if we had it back where sort of the fetish anal hooks are and stuff like that.
I didn't even know there was a such thing as an anal hook, all right? Now
Well,
my
you
height is
would if
little-
Well, here, let me show you.
There's not an anal hook.
Well, yeah, I wore one in.
What is it for?
It's
It's
to
if
hook
you have
your
to hang
anus.
multiple people from a conveyor belt.
No, I'm going to go home and
Hang 'em
Google
up
it.
by their buttocks.
Where's my phone?
Please do
I'm
not
going to Google it.
Google anal hook. Nobody Google.
Why, the
and please do
FBI
not
will come
Yeah,
get
then
me?
they come around like dry cleaning sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. I like what I do is I
She
have
puts
parties
the
where
lotion
we all kind of get on the anal hooks on a conveyor belt.
Just stop, because no
And
one
we go
might.
around and we kiss the people that are
No,
standing.
later on tonight.
I heard
You'll be
that's
hearing
how-
that I stuck a coat hanger in my ass, and you'll be like, "What happened?"
Bobbing
I'll be
for
like,
apples,
"TJ
I
told me
think,
it was
is done from
sexy."
anal hooks, isn't it? It's a kid's thing.
TJ said to do it.
No
Everybody
Google
goes, we
images.
know.
I hope we don't have to go back to the days when women had to put coat hangers in their ass. Right, everybody? Roe v. Wade. Right.
Now it's a hook for everyone,
In every garage.
not just Maplethorpe photo subjects.
Oh, it's a maple
Really
Thorpe
divided
joke. Well
the crowd.
done,
Yeah, that
really,
was
really
deep.
divided
Anybody
the
remember
crowd.
the 80s? Yeah.
Come on, let's do this.
Good reference.
And so yeah,
Augie, you are
propagandist.
propaganda. Well, the reason I
Oh,
was
hey,
gonna-
let's get to the show, huh, guys?
I was
Any
going to bring it
minute.
up because I majored in psychology with a concentration in persuasion theory and social influence. And so
Wow.
we studied a lot of propaganda stuff.
For or against?
Talk about a dork forest.
Yeah. I didn't
We were
even know they had that.
propaganda, prop.
Okay. Where'd you go to college? Offhand?
Offhandedly. There's some place in D.C.
For 4 years. It all worked out.
Yeah, the George Washington University in Washington, D.C.
Oh.
That means you're smart, right?
It doesn't.
That's
It
a
doesn't.
smart
It was
one.
a,
Smart
you know
one.
what it is? It was a school that was really expensive. That was kind of a safety school for New Jersey kids that couldn't get into like Georgetown or other good schools. And so there's a lot of dumb people with wealthy families, and then guys like me who didn't really get in anywhere good, but they offered a scholarship. Like they offered me an academic scholarship. I was not like a big student in high school. I was not around a lot. I wasn't sober throughout the day.
So why'd they give it to you?
Because they had really low standards. So I packed my bags, headed to
Because
DC.
you
It's
come
true.
from money, but you come from money.
No.
Come on.
No, I just came from money, but I
Just
You
now.
came from
I came on money.
I
Yeah.
was with them earlier.
I just came on money. Yeah.
with your anal hook.
It's
No,
where,
no, no,
where
no.
I
It
live,
was-
my money is in Van Nuys. I live on a Scrooge McDuck pile of cash. It's very nice. It's very
It's all coins. That must hurt
all
so much when
coins.
You have a lot
I
of
tried
credit
doing that
here.
jumping into coins.
Dollar
It
coins.
hurts.
You have a lot of credit here.
I got some credit.
Yeah, you're
Oh,
like
yeah.
rolling in the dough.
I got silver peppermint bark. It's pretty sweet. So, but I've often heard that is a good school, but maybe that is an illusion created by people
It's an
who
illusion
graduated.
created by them. Also.
It sounds like paranoia. It sounds like when I first started doing stand-up and Dave Chappelle and Brewer brought me into Brewer's apartment and they brought me in the back and they're like, listen, don't get an agent. And I was like, why? They were totally crazy. They told me that the agents had these big, like they went on retreats to figure out how to just fuck us, to just screw us over.
Oh wait. Oh, that there was.
No?
That sounds like a conspiracy theory.
Oh, yeah.
So Brewer, who
So they
of
was-
course always
but doesn't
sober.
that mean they were spreading?
That guy's a sober guy.
Him
That
and
guy.
Chappelle, they might have been.
They possibly
A little bit before I got there.
They might have been snorting everything and spooning.
Just snorting marijuana.
And they were like,
Just yeah, it
Doesn't that
burns the
mean they-
front part.
Forget how the marijuana works.
but doesn't that mean they were spreading propaganda if it wasn't truth?
Right.
No, that's exactly right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well,
What?
propaganda
This
is.
isn't real blonde hair. I know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Hey, you're not made of stone. Let's hear it.
So what if I went to
Auggie?
UMass Boston?
You went to UMass Boston, University of Wisconsin Madison.
Right.
What'd you do, Og?
So you come from racism.
I started doing stand-up right out of high school.
Did you stand
See,
up right out of high
everyone says that
school?
to
No
me
college
all the
for
time.
Og. No.
University of Hard Knocks?
Yeah, that's
Come
right.
on, up
yeah,
high,
yeah,
up high.
yeah.
Don't leave me
Yeah.
hanging. There we go. Good for you.
I got my education in bars and taverns across the Pacific Northwest, where I was doing a half hour for $75 to a room
Right.
where the pool tables were still on.
That's a good
I would
school, I
I
heard.
know, right?
You're
It's easy
building
to get
character.
into. But okay, so here's my dorkdom is propaganda. I love propaganda. I love everything about it. I love the history of it. I love what goes on now with it. Now I'm going to tell you guys a story about somebody that you should know. And his name is Jamie Rohrs.
Roars?
Who knows who Jamie Rohrs is?
R-O-R.
Jamie out the doors Rohrs. Okay. The Aurora shooting. The Aurora shooting, nothing funny about the Aurora shooting, but there is an interesting part of the Aurora shooting. In the crowd was Jamie Rohrs with his girlfriend, his infant child, and her 4-year-old. Okay? Now, first of all, remember this is a midnight movie, so they brought an infant. Assholes. Let's just
Right.
start with that.
Let's point that out.
Dude
Batman?
comes in and starts shooting. Jamie Rohrs, who had the infant in his lap, throws down the baby, gets up, leaps off the balcony, runs out the door. Oh, it gets worse than that. Gets into his truck and drives away, leaving his girlfriend, her 4-year-old, and his infant child in the place. He reconnects with them at the hospital 2 hours later, where he proposes marriage. And she says yes. Now, what about this is propaganda. The news reports, who don't want to give a bad story to the Aurora shooting or any of the victims of it, then say that Jamie Rohrs got separated from his family. He got separated? How did that
He
happen?
got separated as quickly as he could.
That's what happened. happens when you throw something away from you. You get separated from it. When
he
you
spike
throw
his own baby?
He spiked the baby, and he ran out of there as fast as he possibly could. Jamie out the doors roars. But here's the thing: is that the news, they don't want you to know that this negative story about it, so they report it
because of the positive experience that was Aurora.
Because then there's the redemption of the proposal, and now they're together. And this is my favorite example of propaganda and how it works and how you push the story. There are different ways to push the story. You either give them part of the story or you give them the part of the story that works for you, that can move forward whatever your agenda is. And it happens every day, and you watch it all the time. Just sit home and watch Fox News or watch MSNBC, and you're inundated with it. And what it does is it shapes the argument. And here's the thing, there's not much funny about this, but what there is...
I was just about to say, you've just proven my point, which is if you care deeply about propaganda, don't bring it up in mixed company or at a party.
But I was going to say...
Here's the thing, just shut up, Tom. Here's the thing, you're watching what you want to see.
Almost ready to
Susan, shut the fuck up.
Bought into the lie.
Finish the bagel bites.
Right? Then all of a sudden you're Alex Jones and nobody listens.
Wait 1 minute. All that was going through my head is, where did you get that story that he drew the
where'd
baby?
you get the
what
truth,
the fuck
man?
is that? You were all believing. You were like, really?
Jamie Rohrs.
He is Tommy Rohrs. You son of a bitch.
Jamie.
Well, the other part of the story is that his family did get out safely, but there was a 19-year-old kid that led them out of the theater because it was filled with smoke and bullets and everything.
How do you know
that
the story?
kid got shot? That kid got shot.
But how do you know the
We're
story?
going to need a source, Auggie Smith.
Hold on.
Otherwise,
Jamie
it's
Rohrs and his girlfriend go on Piers Morgan, and they talk about the story. But here's the thing. When they talk about the story, how do you get separated from a baby on your lap? How does that happen? The baby didn't wander off. That didn't happen.
How old's
he
the baby?
Threw
Now,
the baby aside.
I want to stop you real quick, though, because you just did an example of propaganda.
That's what I just said.
Augie just
Stealing
said,
my
he
shit.
goes like this. Is this what you're about to say?
I already said it.
Well, did you say that he said,
Say it again.
that guy got shot in the leg? And see, you went with the point that made your point. You're like,
Yeah.
that 19-year-old kid, he got shot in the leg. He's fine. He actually ended up, he's been convicted of domestic abuse since then. He's in a lot of trouble
It was
with the
Chris
law.
Brown. It was Chris Brown that led them out. Yeah. So things worked out okay.
But it's hard. It's hard not, right? Everybody wants to push their side of the story. Or the thing
Yes, but that's in your
is their
relationships.
interest.
Doesn't that happen? I was thinking that happened in the green room.
But so wait, so they go on Piers Brosnan's talk show.
They do go on Piers Brosnan's talk show because it took place in the late 1980s, and they were talking to Remington
Steele.
Right.
And so what happens is they admit at that time that he got in his truck and drove away.
Yeah, he did. He'd absolutely gotten his story. And his
And
story,
they admit that.
His story was that he was hoping to reconnect with them outside, so he's driving around the parking lot
Where
of
there
the
were
mall,
no guns
which
or
is where he
bullets?
figured
Is that where
they
he
would
was
be.
hoping to be?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. So
they're Darren.
he's
But it's
sitting next to him during the film. The film is
Yeah,
playing. And then
he
he
did
gets
not-
separated because he's like, okay, there's a shooting. I'm going to go get popcorn. I'm going to put the baby
I can
down.
imagine
And-
not wanting to sit with him because who would want to be that close to a baby during a movie?
Right.
Because only assholes bring babies to movies, especially midnight
They're
ones.
not the brightest
that are
people
violent
on them.
films.
This is not a lovely
You forgot
couple.
the part about his mother fell down the stairs before the movie, and she was watching the baby.
Oh my God, that's horrible.
Yeah.
Back
I didn't
in
even know
Africa.
that
Yes,
part.
the mother fell down the stairs, and so he had to take the baby.
They kind of...
Did you just make
I
that
heard
up?
he
You just
adopted
made that
the
up.
baby from
I
Rwanda.
just made it up.
All that's true.
I'm
And
making
also-
my own propaganda.
They always try and push the September 11th thing being about the plane crashes and the towers and stuff, but actually, a fireman met his wife in the rubble. They got married the next day. Great story. Nobody fucking talks about it. Johnny Claridge got in a marriage. That's what they called him. Johnny Claridge found his true love in marriage. That didn't work how I wanted it to.
So this is it. This is what makes you a dork? Is that now we're dork?
Out the
So
doors.
wait,
Rohrs.
so with the history of propaganda
Right.
is what, from cave days? Like people have been right? I mean, that's where it all
Right.
starts. When we first started with the bidit, we're all talking, and we are all telling the story that we want to. We're telling the story we want to tell ourselves, right?
That's going to push it
That's
ahead.
When I was in high school, I went to a Catholic high school, and we had a religion class, and that's a big topic, religion, especially
At a Catholic
in a Catholic
school?
high school,
Yeah.
because human history is almost 4,000 years old. And so, anybody on that one? No? Okay. So we had a substitute one day, Mrs. Mitchell, that told us, and this is in the 1980s, and I know you remember that decade, we were afraid of the communists. Anybody remember the communists? They were some bad mofos. And she told us that the communists had amassed troops on the Canadian and Mexican borders and were within months from rolling in and attacking America. I swear to God, she said this in class. And this was a thing that people thought because there was a dude named Lyndon LaRouche who is from Chicago.
Oh, yeah.
You know Lyndon LaRouche?
Did you guys ever see Lyndon LaRouche?
No.
The first time I saw Lyndon LaRouche, I called my mother, and I was like, something's gone wrong on television. There's a guy who's telling lies. And my mother was like, what are you watching? What's his name? And I go, Lyndon LaRouche. And she goes, oh, that nutbag runs for president every 12 minutes, and he's always full of lies. That guy's made of lies, is what she told me. That guy's a bag of lies.
What a weirdo.
Yeah,
what a weird name.
He's
Lyndon LaRouche.
Yeah.
No wonder he's always lying.
He's no Louis Farrakhan.
Everybody would be like, hey, Lyndon, why is your name Lyndon LaRouche? And he had to make up thousands of
His
stories.
name should have been Elliot.
Elliot had his own lies, but my dad does not have a horse in the political race. He doesn't care about politics at all. So
that was the first time that somebody told me something. I'm like, wait a minute. That sounds like bullshit. Okay. Yeah, I don't think that there are tanks amassed along the Canadian border.
No, the Canadians would have something to say about that.
And then as the months rolled on, I'm like, this still hasn't happened yet. I think I've been lied to by somebody who was supposed to be knowing something.
And that was the big reveal. That was the first big reveal.
And that's when I thought I should look into this. I'll bet this has happened before.
Turns out it had.
And it turned out
a few months earlier.
At least 4 times before in human history.
And did you ever get to see Red Dawn?
Did I get to? Every day. How about that remake?
Did he get to? He dropped a baby in the middle of the screen.
It's like, I will trade you this baby for 2 tickets to Red Dawn. And the remake was terrible. I don't know. I didn't see it. But I'm going to I'm going to spread some propaganda that was a shitty movie without seeing it.
Everything is propaganda.
What? Okay.
Even like Hollywood stuff is propaganda. Like I could read a magazine and they could say something about someone and I'd be like, I was out with them 3 days ago and that's not true.
Okay.
At all.
So, yeah, well, I mean, it's the spin. Is that what you're talking about? It's whatever propaganda's the spin?
Well, at this point now, it has become a business, and I'm sorry for how long this takes to get to.
Sorry, you're a dork.
We're not. Okay. I look at like a character like Ann Coulter. Ann Coulter writes books where she says things along the lines of the 9/11 widows are assholes.
Right.
These broads are millionaires was her exact quote in her book. She goes after single mothers. Because damn them for not having a man in the picture. And she says these ridiculous things. And she becomes a best-selling author. And here is what I believe. She does not go home and think those things. She is a character that creates that. If things aren't going well in stand-up comedy, Jackie Kashian, you or I could go home and we could write a book about the America that I remember. And then just nothing but platitudes and propaganda, and people would then believe that. It's become a business of and not for political gain anymore. It's just to sell books and get on TV and be a commentator, and then come in and speak for it.
Absolutely. I think the reason it's become so economically charged, or that's sort of the impetus behind it a lot now, is because we live in a capitalist society where when the government used to control the economy, then government propaganda was the most important type of propaganda. Now that sort of capitalism and monetary gain is the most important thing, that's now sort of corporations are pushing propaganda on you. They're saying, American Airlines, the most trusted whatever it is.
Okay.
And I don't know.
So they're not political messages. They're commercial messages.
They're less. I mean, we're all smart enough and savvy enough to know political propaganda when we see it. Everybody who watches ads for Obama or for Romney, depending on who you're from, you look at the other person's camp and you say, well, that's bullshit. They're just painting this. This is just propaganda.
Right.
What we don't notice is that if you go to a mall, it's very hard to get to restrooms, and usually it's a diagonal. They're very confusing floor maps in malls.
Oh, right. And they
the
set the
patterns on the
escalators
floor.
up so that you have
Yeah.
to go past every store to get to the
There's
next.
those sorts of controls are less easy to to decipher.
What about
and
airbrushing?
point out.
And and there's a lot of airbrushing happening.
And that sort of propagates an incorrect image of women's bodies and also men's. Every photograph that's been taken of me and put on the internet has been airbrushed so that it looks like my jaw is protruding, like a horse got stung in the mouth.
Who's doing that, Augie?
It's usually me.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it out there that I'm an old horse face.
That's what your agenda. His agenda is very horsey.
This is taking a step away from the TED Talk that I wanted it to be. But
Now it's a Mr. Ed Talk.
We're just poking holes in Augie's argument is all we're doing. We're saying that everybody's propaganda. Even if you had a conversation, like the way I see the world is my propaganda. The way I like to see the world in a more positive way. I totally respect people that don't see it in a positive way.
But great propaganda, it comes with a personal gain behind it. Like, for the example is that if you go back to the great political propagandists, the reason that they would demonize a particular group, I don't know, maybe the Jews, that's happened over the years. I can think of a few examples.
The Jews.
The idea of doing that is so that you can further your own political career or make money somehow at doing that.
Yeah, because if you can, I get it. I mean, if you blame somebody, then it isn't your fault, and then you can. But what I think is interesting is that, when I do stand-up comedy in other cities and around the country, people are always like, man, you can't do smart comedy anymore. And I'm like, sure you can. Everybody gets cable. Everybody gets all 26 of the letters. Mm-hmm. It's going to be fine, right? I mean, you can talk to, everyone's smarter than you give them credit for. And everyone's willing to laugh at a dumb joke too, if you want to be wiggly and shouty and talk about fart.
Yes, I do.
Sue Costello just looked offended. Like, are you talking about me? No, I'm not, actually.
When you
Look at her, she's wiggling as we speak.
I'm right here.
When you said somebody was wiggly and shouty backstage, I was like, I'm wiggly and shouty.
Is that your stand-up? Is that your theme?
Wiggly.
Is that your comedy theme?
I kind of
wiggly
wiggle
and
on
shouty?
stage.
All right.
Sometimes I shout, fuck you harder. Yeah.
Okay, fuck you harder? That's one of the shoutings?
Yeah, I shout. Fuck
All
you
right.
harder.
One of the shoutings. That sounds like a terrible horror film. The shoutings.
With me.
Have you heard The Shoutings?
That really would be. I wouldn't go to that movie.
The sequel is The Yellings.
You know what? The Yollering, my grandmother, not originally from this country, did not speak English as a first language, and she used to say, he's yollering at me, which is a yelling, hollering mashup. Yollering. I enjoy yollering as a word. It's a good one.
I'm going to say that from now on.
Hollering is a good word.
That would make somebody laugh if they were yelling at you. Stop yollering at me. They would just laugh. I'm going to try it tomorrow.
Please stop yollering at me.
He's yollering at me.
Saying that earnestly is very funny.
Yeah. She was always the victim. It was her propaganda.
Dad, please stop yollering. Stop yollering at Mother. Mother, stop creeping. That's when you cry and weep at the same time.
Have you guys ever heard of the word grabby? It's a crabby, grouchy mashup, the grabbiness.
That
guy's grabby.
That made me think it was sexual, right?
Yeah,
right, because you thought,
I think there might be a word grabby already, though. That's the problem with that. I mean,
Did it fall apart because there's
I'll have to go to my records, but I'm pretty sure. That might have been
propaganda and see what's going on.
Have you heard of Hansy? It's a combination of Heinz 57 and Anzy. You know that one? No, I think it means like touchy. No. It's Heinz 57.
Yeah, there's rapey. It's ripe and apey.
Apey.
You know that one?
Quit being so apey.
It's what apes talk about bananas about. They think they're rapey.
Yeah.
That banana's a little too rapey. And sure.
Okay, now we're delirious. We're all just being silly gooses now.
I think
silly. We're fucking dorks.
Propaganda is right. It's definitely. I don't know.
We're gonna still talk about that.
You want to talk about something else? What do you got?
Know. That's all we were going to talk about the whole time?
Well, that's all I had. That's all.
I thought we were all supposed to tell why
well,
we're
some of us had other things to say about it instead of being negative about how long we've been talking about the topic.
TJ,
you stop yowling at me and just say your point. Sorry. We had
That's yodeling. That's yelling, hollering, and yodeling.
We had a fight. All right, I apologize.
We had a fight. That's the greatest line.
I apologize.
What's your dork?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. I apologize. I'm being bossy.
No, that's okay.
I'm a little bossy
what
when
is
it
your
comes to the
dorkishness?
guys. That's my dorkiness. I get bossy with the guys.
Oh,
It's
that's what it is?
horrible.
You're bossy
Yes.
McGoo? All right.
I'm not. I'm goofy. Like I don't know. I'm just a dork with guys. Like, well, first of all, because I was a loser when I was little, like bad.
Sure.
Like I looked like a boy when I was little.
I don't know if you're looking around you, but that guy looks like a horse. And Auggie doesn't have a college
I
education.
didn't develop comedy as a defense mechanism.
But no,
because
but
things were going well when I was
literally
young.
looked like a boy. All right, then I'm not
I
a
didn't
dork.
need to be funny because I was so popular.
No, I
otherwise.
looked like I was a band fag. I was in the band.
You were a band
What'd you play?
fan,
What'd
so
you
you
play?
were
What'd you play?
homophobic and you played an instrument.
And you said I was racist earlier. I got that too.
It's
That's what
Boston.
they say to me.
It's Boston.
I'm
They say
from
you were from
Boston.
Boston.
Oh my God! They're like, "Are you from Boston? No, you're a racist." When I first moved to New York, I'm like, "Are you from Boston? You're a racist." I'm like, "I'm sorry." They're like, "You from Boston? You're a racist." I'm like, "I'm sorry." And I was like, "Wait, we all used to be racist growing up. The black people and the white people. We hated each other because we were poor. We had the black girls used to taunt the Irish guys so badly." Like
About being Irish?
because of their lack of sexual prowess. Like in the back of UMass one night, we had this friend Paul Duke Doodle Mustard. He was like,
I don't know.
That sounds like a racial slur. Oh, look at Duke Mustard.
or homophobic, or homophobic.
That is the cutest racial epithet ever.
He was like
Duke Mustard.
Duke Doodle Mustard. Yeah. He was 6'7" and he never said a word unless it was important. And he would smoke his cigars. And we were in the back of UMass Boston one night, and the black girls came up to him and they were like, "Black guys can do it all night long."
So these black girls went up to this giant white dude and said
this to him in his face, which is very aggressive.
That's
They're like,
propaganda.
"All night long,"
that
and he didn't
feels
even skip a
propaganda.
beat. And he's like, "Yeah, that's because they don't got to get up and go to work in the morning."
Right. Everybody making friends. Everyone making friends in a circle. That's it.
I like that propaganda.
Huh? Come on.
Now I'm going to be a racist. Everybody's going to call me a racist.
No.
Nah, Boston isn't a racist
We're
town.
not.
That's why the Red Sox didn't have a black
Can I just tell you
player until
something, though?
20 years
No, can I tell
after
you-
Jackie
honest to
Robinson.
God.
1967 was their first black player. Good God!
No, honest to God, in defense of Boston, I have my own podcast, which I won't promote here because that's not
Kadoozy.
Kadoozy Cast. It's called the Kadoozy Cast. You should
That's it.
listen to it. It's awesome.
And then Augie's got a pod. You got a pod. What's it called?
It isn't out yet.
what's
I've only
it
made
going
two
to
of
be
them.
called? What's it going to be called?
It's called Motivationally Speaking.
Yeah. TED Talk.
Step back, everybody.
TJ Miller, you got a pod?
I'm frequently a guest on Cash Levy's podcast called
All right.
Cashing In with TJ Miller.
Right.
Well, it's your
Excuse me, Sue? Don't boss me into it being my
I forgot
test.
to tell you about the guy thing, too.
But if it's called Cashing In with TJ Miller,
Right,
you
that's
have
what
a
I was gonna
podcast.
say. And he's
Listen,
yelling at me.
He has a lot of trouble getting other guests to come on the show. So, I've been on the show a lot. So yeah, it's called Cashing In with TJ Miller, Sue. Or as we call it, Cashing In with Dookie Doodle Mustard. Doesn't have a job in the morning, Long Dong Dickerson.
Now I forgot my point. Oh, I know. So I was talking. So in defense of Boston, I'm going to defend Boston because that's all. I get so much shit for it. I had this guy Kevin who was grew up in Boston. He went to Catholic Memorial. I had him on my podcast, and I had never even made this connection about when they did the forced busing. So a lot of people moved their kids out of the bad neighborhood. People that didn't have a lot of money, they moved the kids out of the bad neighborhood.
White flight.
Moved them out of the bad neighborhood. No, that wasn't the black. It wasn't black. It was just poor white neighborhood.
Yeah, but were they going
It was
quick
called
enough
White
to say
Flight.
it was yeah?
No, they were moving them out of poor
I'm
white
going to name my
neighborhood.
band White Flight.
See what
Moving
I put up
on.
with? It's not even factual. It's propaganda. They're pushing their agenda out. No, it was
Sue,
not a black neighborhood. It was a white
you're
neighborhood.
clearly being more obnoxious than Jackie. Now pay for your $120 look at her lobster.
I'm not even telling my story anymore.
No. So the thing is Boston. There's racism in Boston, but let me tell you something. Milwaukee.
Can I just finish telling you my idea?
Why Boston isn't racist?
No, what happened?
What?
I never even got this.
Because you didn't know it was racist?
No, so they moved the kids, the poor guys.
No, we all know about the busing problem in Boston.
No, then they force bus them. So they get them out of the neighborhood. Then they force them together. They force everybody. So the racism gets crazy.
Right.
The family doesn't want them to be in the fights that they're going through, so they send them to the Catholic school, and everybody gets sexually molested.
Wow, that is a story someone is telling themselves.
That seems like absolute truth. If you hold something to a standard of absolute truth,
every story you tell, Sue, ends that way. Every story you tell ends with everybody.
So that's why they all went to the Catholic Church and they get molested. And it's all the blacks'
That's your
fault.
saver. That's always your saver when a story is and everybody got molested. So
here's the great thing about Boston. Linguiça. You guys got a Portuguese people that make a hell of a soup. Mm-hmm. See, I'm always making peace. That's what I'm about. I'm about bringing us together with
We're funny in Boston.
with soup.
yeah, it's a very funny town.
Right?
But you don't have a club. It's hard. I've never been able to work Boston.
Why?
Because nobody will
like
pay
women.
me to work Boston.
Yeah, they don't like women either.
What was the club? The Connection?
The Comedy Connection?
Nick's. They used to have Stitches.
Stitches?
Yeah.
There was that one in the basement of that bar that seated about 40 people.
Dick Doherty's comedy.
There was
Vault.
the Chinese restaurant upstairs
The
that didn't
studio,
pay.
the comedy studio.
Comedy studio. Yeah,
That's the only
I got
one
a
left,
free-
I think.
I got a T-shirt when I
The
went
Will
there.
is still there, and Nick's is still there, and the Comedy Vault is
And then
still
there's
there.
about 77 colleges that you can do stand-up comedy at. If you can get
And
into
all
college.
of them, the students primarily major in racism.
And Catholic molestation.
And homophobia. Yes, evidently. This is an intervention for me. Is that what's going on?
They have the naked comedy show, too. That guy does that naked comedy show.
Is that at
What
the porn
about
shop?
what about the Catholic molluscation? That's when you finger a
They got a
Boston
lot of
clam
mollusks.
chowder.
They got a lot of mollusks.
You figure the clam chowder.
So let's ask
This is how I'm a dork.
TJ Miller, what's your dorkdom? Let's do that.
I like to finger clam chowder. Molestation. I think, actually that does bring me to, I really am a dork about wordplay. I really, really like and enjoy wordplay. I like combining words. I think it's really funny. I don't know. I think that's all, like puns and stuff are very funny to me.
Oh, that's a good one.
You
I
know?
like it. It's you gonna write a book?
Like
A penitentiary?
Oh,
Costello, and behold, she really is racist.
This is such propaganda. It's all that's going to be. That's all anybody's going to take from this.
Auggie Smith.
So do you read a lot? Is that the thing?
Auggie Smith, they used to call him Auggie Pith, but then he went on too long about propaganda. Stuff like that.
Stuff like that. That's what it's like.
No, I like that stuff. No, I don't read that much. I wish I read more. I read some nonfiction sometimes. I always think it's weird when people read fiction. I understand why they do it. But it's weird if someone's like, I am so tired of my job and where I am in my life. My relationship's a mess. Now, let me escape to Wonderland, where fairies are fighting dead dragons.
Yeah.
Zombie
so
dragons.
You like to? Oh,
it could be anything.
Okay.
Though. Fiction could be about
Sue
other
just
things.
got so angry she just
It could be Moby Dick.
smashed her face against the fucking microphone. Like, you like what? You like what? What did you just say? She's bleeding from her mouth.
I wasn't
She's not got her two
angry.
front teeth because I said.
I was laughing, and he's saying I'm angry. Now I'm the angry racist.
As long as we've established
It's
it.
sad when racists get angry, isn't it?
Oh, I'm suing.
Oh, you litigating too? You're
Yes, I'm
litigating
gonna
type?
litigate.
Fantastic. She made me walk over a bridge. I almost died. Anyway, so
Get to my house. I know. I'm like,
Tell that story.
that's a good one. It's a really good story about how I don't like bridges.
No, she's afraid of heights.
I don't enjoy bridges. I know that they're needed. I know that they're the way to get across a lot of bodies of water. But I don't enjoy walking over
What about a
them.
land bridge? Do
A land bridge?
you like land bridges?
I think the British called them follies, and I like them. I'm on board.
What about a body bridge? Like, what if we made a bridge out of those guys
people?
kneel down and I lie down?
I also don't want to body surf in like, I would never stage dive.
Oh, I like body surfing when I surf on another man's body. I use him. I
Yeah.
say, keep those legs straight.
I've heard that about you.
Derek.
You're a...
Derek.
I heard you were a top. Anyway, so what's happening?
We're getting dirty. No. I was telling you how.
No, so it's the Pulaski Bridge, and there's a subway on one side of her apartment. There's a subway stop on the other side of the apartment.
All right, don't tell them specifics. They can find me.
They can find you
all the people that are anti-racist, so come find me.
By the Creek and Cave.
All right,
quiet. It's a comedy club. In Queens or something like that, right? It's and then there's
what are the numbers on the front of that boat?
Hey, don't tell us the Pacifics, but tell us the Atlantics.
It's
that ocean's on the East Coast.
Somewhere between 0 and 9. Anyway, so so I don't like a bridge where you can see through to the waters.
Right.
I don't enjoy that. I don't enjoy a large suspension bridge that you have to drive over.
Sure.
I like to eat the car in front of me and just sort of just tailgate for the entirety of that San Francisco bridge that is so popular.
Well, and that bridge, the Pulaski Bridge, bounces too.
Yeah, that is not a positive experience.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll never do that to you again.
All right.
Have you ever been so angry that you've bitten your steering wheel?
Have you ever been so angry that you've whipped your mouth?
That you raped what?
And you whipped your microphone with your mouth?
Wait, have you bitten a steering wheel in an effort to just go?
That's why your jaw is sticking out. There you go. That's why your jaw sticks out.
Yeah, exactly. He gave me buck teeth because I have a 4x4. It's a big steering wheel.
More wordplay, ladies.
There's a girl in the audience just shaking her head, representing most of America's feelings about wordplay.
What was the last nonfiction book you read, I wonder? TJ Miller.
I'll tell you what you're not afraid of is bridges in conversation.
Nope. I have no interest in a segue. I'm gonna move forward.
Well, that's how you break us open.
We only got about 7 more minutes here.
A suspension bridge in conversation is when you stop talking about this and you start talking about other things.
Right?
Nice.
I know you don't listen. Sue doesn't like it.
I don't even know what
You're like the Allen Ginsberg of wordsmiths.
And what's sad is I don't even know who that is.
He's a poet from the 50s. He's
Oh,
a beat
Sylvia
poet.
Plath. I know you're talking about.
Right. He's just like that, but shorter. Yeah.
Well, she was always bending over halfway to put her head in an oven. Too soon? Was that?
Too soon.
Too late? Too late, I think.
She didn't put her head in the oven, did she?
Sylvia Plath?
Yeah.
No.
And killed herself.
No, I thought she drowned. Yes. You went to the
What's the
college.
only wood
I
that
went to
doesn't
UMass
float,
Boston,
right?
and I know
What's the only wood that doesn't float, right?
Who's the head in the oven then?
I don't know. Yeah, I think it was Sylvia Plath.
It's the other girl from the Hours.
Oh, sure. She drowned in oven gas.
Gwyneth Paltrow?
You know, she drowned in turkey juice. There was a turkey in the oven.
Oh, she was in the oven first and then in the water.
It was a long.
She did. Sylvia
See, I have to
Plath
be
was
careful
the
because I'm very committed
head in
to
the
my
oven.
bullshit. Like sometimes I have no idea when.
Oh, it didn't work, and then she drowned herself.
Oh, all right.
So she tried the
Well,
oven.
the oven wasn't on.
So
That was
both
the big problem.
statements are true.
And then she tried to bite the steering wheel.
It's what? I like that. That's how you deal with your road rage. You're like, I'm not going to kill anyone. I'm not going to hurt anyone. I'm just going to bite this
things.
When I
Do you
said
ever
that,
put
I was
peanut
sure
butter?
one of you would say, "Yeah, I've done that once," and
then
then
put
no
some
one
peanut
did,
butter on
and
your-
it was the loneliest feeling. Felt like being alone on a
I
suspension
gotta tell
bridge.
you, I'm gonna from now on.
Yeah, you are. Well, when you get so angry, you can't even hit the steering wheel. I just you know. Never? No go, Sue? Not even in Boston when a black person steps in front of your car? You're like, this fucking guy, you can do it all night long!
Let it go. They'll see my spirit. They'll know. They'll know what's real.
Your aura.
They'll hear me. They'll hear my love.
What really liberal place did you grow up in New Jersey, TJ Miller?
Yeah, thank you.
No, I'm from Denver.
What?
Rich Denver. He's from Rich Denver.
Now, why? I don't get that.
Why you think he's rich?
Where is
said
Denver a
something.
rich city?
Yes, it's richer than Boston.
I don't think that's true.
Let's go Google it.
Hold on, Sue.
What?
You've been pronouncing it wrong. You're from Detroit. Detroit. A lot of people from Detroit pronounce it Boston.
You're going to get in trouble because Detroit's going to be mad. They're mad that people are shitting on them.
Yeah, this
if
is
only
what's
they
going to
can
make
afford
them
a bus
mad.
ticket. If only they could afford a bus ticket
This
to come
is going to
kick
be
my
the
ass.
thing that puts them over the top.
When they hear this dork forest, they're going to be pissed.
Yes, the 11 people who still live in Detroit. Did you know that they're turning it into farmland, Detroit? Did you know that? They're it's nice. They're reclaiming the land.
Like you did outside your house with your watermelons.
Yeah. We have a
That
big,
was for sure a racist comment. I don't know why you would be directed at
love
Jackie.
watermelons.
You should have said
love
something
watermelons.
about something else.
You know what I don't understand is the whole thing about racism and watermelon and chicken and all that stuff is that I don't understand why people aren't allowed to like I had a black friend who was like, I'll never eat chicken in front of white people, and you're like, that is the saddest thing I've ever heard in my life of all the injustices in all the world.
I'll never be mean to a black person in front of anybody
that took
ever
place
again.
in the South.
It's just the uncomfortableness of eating chicken. You should be able to eat chicken anywhere. Anyone should be able to.
Yeah.
The tall, the short.
Dang right, we should.
Some people are embarrassed to eat those like snow, those snow
cones?
Snow
globes.
Snowballs?
Yeah, right? Like who really eats those in public? Like, yeah, cool. You have to book
because
those in
of
your
racism?
closet. No, you're saying that they don't want to
Okay.
eat chicken. Everybody has something. Like some people
everyone
wouldn't eat
won't eat
snowballs. No.
I'll eat. I wouldn't eat a snowball on a dare.
I have never heard. That's almost as weird as biting your steering wheel. Is being like, some
shut
people
up.
eat those snowballs in public.
Stop trying.
Whatever they're thinking about.
Stop
How do
trying
you live
to
with
cover
yourself?
that.
Just out there eating ice? Give me a break.
No.
Home in your kitchen crying.
The hostess ones. The cake ones.
Oh,
the cake one.
Stop with your
Cake one.
propaganda.
That is shameful. That's true.
They're just changing everything I say, and that's all everybody's going to hear.
No, everyone's going to hear the joy
They're
and
going
the
to hear
love.
my love and my heart.
No, I really did. I thought you were talking about the ice.
I know
I did
because
too.
you're
The snow
all...
cones. I thought it was a snow cone talk, but then it was a snowball, which is those two to a package.
Yeah.
What won't you eat, Augie?
I want nothing. There's nothing I want to eat.
Really? Fear no food? You're
Well,
out.
it's just, why won't people eat snowballs? What do they look like? They're big purple
I'm just
round
saying,
things, or
yeah,
pink round
who would
things.
ever really just buy them
looks
somewhere
like-
and eat them? Like, nobody.
I guess that's why Hostess went under. I don't know. Well, their food was still
I ruined
embarrassing.
Hostess. Great, now I ruined Hostess.
How about the guy that made the chocolate-covered bananas in Boston? He can sell any.
Their food is
No
so
white people would
embarrassing.
buy that.
Hostess, our food is embarrassing. I would like to eat. I'll tell you one thing I'd like to eat is my words, because I thought you were talking about
Thank you.
snow cones.
Now we're making up. The fight is over and we're making up.
And you're talking about snowballs, and
good.
they are gross. Augie, it's true. People shouldn't eat a snowball. I have a tough time eating a ding dong in public. I play something I like to call ding dong ditch, where I take a bite of a ding dong, and anybody looks, I throw the fucking ding dong on the ground, and I get the hell out of town. Especially if it's Detroit. Come and get me, you weird farmers.
Hey guys, it's been an hour.
Oh my gosh,
I
that
don't
went by
believe that.
I know, it's
fast.
hard to believe. In other news, why don't we plug our websites and our whatnot? You got whatnot, Og?
No, I got it's an easy one. Auggie Smith, Auggie, and I got a Twitter that I just started tweeting.
Did you tweet?
Oh my
out there?
God, I got hundreds of followers already.
All right,
Going
all
through
right.
the roof.
All right. How about you, Costello?
My Sue Costello is my Twitter, at
Twitter.
Sue Costello.
Twitter.
And my website, SueCostello.com. And my podcast is The Kadoozy Cast with TJ Miller.
Excellent. And so
It is racist. Buckle up, everyone. We get in there and we don't pull any punches.
next week she's talking about the Portuguese. Let's do
No, the
this.
Kadoozy Cast with me, Sue Costello. Kadoozy.
Okay, Kadoozy. And then TJ Miller, you got, is it
Spelled just like it
tjmiller.com?
sounds.
No, it's TJ Miller does not have a website.com.
Okay, I like it.
That's because TJMiller.com was taken by a Southern California developer who refused to sell me the website in 2003. He wanted $2,000 for it. I said, I bet there'll be a search engine one day that will make URLs obsolete, and I was right.
Yes.
And you can listen to Cash Levy's podcast, Cashing In with Sue Costello, on the Nerdist Network. And And I have a Twitter also. It's called Not TJ Miller. Because TJ Miller was taken by a woman from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, who's tweeted 14 times since 2007. Fucking white bitch. White Bostonian. I don't know.
All right, and I am Jackie Cation, and here's the good news about me is that you know all about me. JackieCation.com, dorkforest.com. Vilmos will fix the website, of course. Patrick Brady will fix this audio. Zach McGeever in the booth. Zach, let's have a nice round of applause for Zach.
Yeah, Zach, eating Doritos.
And the Meltdown Comedy, the comic book store, is always lovely. Feel free to use the donation button because February is light. Anyway, you're doing vital work out here listening to the Dork Forest. Thanks for coming out and supporting Alive, the Dork Forest. And now, just clap.
My hat. They're dancing around my hat. My hat. Well, what do you think of that? If it looks like a Mexican hat dance and it sounds like a Mexican hat dance, it's most likely a Mexican hat dance. So take off your hat and let's dance.
Yay! Oh my God. Why don't we just call that as the end of the show?